Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Programming with a Purpose. In this video, I'm going to show you how to add further features to my adventure game that I've developed in part 1. You can check out the part 1 with the attached link here. In part 2, I'm going to show you how to create obstacles, how to avoid them, how to add the scoring system to my game. So let's get started. So here I'm showing you a simple gameplay of my game after developing all the steps that I'm going to show you in a few moments inside this video. And the player is avoiding all the obstacles successfully, and look here one of the obstacle hit him and it is going to now die. So let's see how we are going to build all this functionality to my game that I've already developed in part 1. So guys, here I'm showing you how to add your animator controller that you have created in part 1 with the new state defeated, and how we are going to move from any of the state like idle, running and jump to my defeated state. What will be the parameter values, which is basically is defeat is set to true. So follow all these steps and update the animator as shown here. So what I'm doing here is basically I'm adding a public void function on character defeated, which will be called once my character dies. So it will enable the main screen object and it will disable my gameplay screen object. It will basically hide my gameplay screen and show the main screen. And this is a function of a UI handler class, and it will handle all the functions related to basically the UI changes or basically the screen handling. So what I'm doing here is basically I am adding some of the game objects to my gameplay object or gameplay screen. So I've added here a text object which is basically help us to show the score on the screen, and I've added its relevant properties. After that, I'm going to add another object that will serve as basically the parent to all the obstacles that I am going to spawn in this scene. And also I'm going to hide the jump button that you have seen previously. I've added in the tutorial in part 1. We do not require this button. We have handled all the UI using the touch and basically mouse and keyboard functions for now. So guys, we have added another class gameplay screen controller to our gameplay screen object, and we have added some of the variables here. You can see that the parent of obstacles, the obstacle prefab, which we are yet to create, there is a public text UI element with the name score, which will display the score. And we have set some of the properties inside the start function, like we have set the score to 0, and we have reset the score text. And then we are going to call two of the functions here, invoke repeating, which I am going to show you in a few seconds. Now let's move on to the other function, remove obstacles. What we are doing here is basically iterating all the obstacles that we have created up till now, and if those items basically exist. The if item check is required for a certain reason that I'm going to show you in a few moments. We are checking the position of the item, that if it is visible inside the screen, or it is basically above the because it is falling from the top to bottom. So if it is above the player, obviously in that case it is going to hit the player, but once it goes beyond the visible limit, it is of no use and we have to delete it. Why we need to remove the obstacles is basically because Unity do not keep track of the objects we need or we do not need. So we have to clean them one by one, otherwise the game engine will halt because the memory will like run out. So then you see that we are iterating each of the items in the obstacles to be deleted list, and then we are deleting it one by one. We are removing the item from the list, as well as we are destroying the game object of that basically item, and then we are clearing this list. And then there is another function, spawn obstacles. This will basically create the obstacles. What we are doing here is basically we are generating a random number in basically the x range, because y will remain it will fall along the y-axis. So we need the x-axis, the initial position, so that is between -900 and 900. And then we are going to create it and set its local position as well as scale, and then add this item to our list of obstacles, so that we keep track of which of the objects are created and which are to be deleted. Why we have set the value to 900, and in the above remove obstacles function a 450 value is used. This is basically all dependent on your screen size, so you can keep these values according to the screen and make some calculations depending upon the screen size and scale. Two of the other changes that I'm going to show you here is basically I've called two of the functions, spawn obstacles and remove obstacles, as invoke repeating, which will which will call these functions on a regular interval, like after 1 second, and it will start after 2 seconds of the gameplay. So basically 2f is basically the value when it will start, and the next term 1f is basically the value after how much time it is going to repeat itself. And then there is another restriction that we have added to my spawn obstacles function, which is basically if the count is less than 6, then we are going to spawn. I have basically kept this limit to limit the number of objects because they are not getting cleared with the same pace they are getting created. So I have added a limit to basically gameplay that only 6 objects will be present in my list of obstacles at one point in time. If you want to keep it unlimited, you can remove this check as well. So as you are seeing here is basically I am adding some of the relevant references to the objects that I have made public in my gameplay screen controller. So basically there is an obstacle prefab, parents prefab, and a score text that I've added inside my UI. And after that I am adding some of the initializer values inside my character movement controller function. So I am adding here some of the variables and I am going to set their default values inside the start function. So you can see that all the values are properly set here. So I'm writing some of the coroutines inside my character movement controller class that I've already added in part 1. You can check it out from part 1. And here I've written a jump coroutine which will basically set the jumping animation to true and then to false after half of a second. And then there is another enumerator running coroutine which will basically set my player to motion after some time, because the animation will not start abruptly, it will take some time. So I've added that delay in my running coroutine. The death coroutine is basically I've added some of the delay, and after that I am going to set it to dead. And after some time I am going to set basically the function to call the to display the main screen, the function that I've already added in my UI handler class. Here I am updating some of the functions and UI controls inside my fixed update function. As you have seen that once I click the mouse, that will set my player into motion, and is running will be set to true inside the animator, and the running coroutine will start. And when I play the X key, it will basically stop my running, and animator will set it to running to false. The C key will move me in forward direction, like in the right direction, and Z will move me into back direction or the left direction. There is another key that I'm going to use it, basically the space key, to make the character jump. Jump functionality is not required in our current gameplay at the moment, but we are going to use it in my next videos. So this is all for the fixed update function. So I am basically here writing an update function, and where I'm setting the limits for the movement, like basically the user cannot go beyond the x limits, which is minus 920 and plus 920. And once the variable is running is set, then we can move either in the forward direction and in the backward direction, depending upon the keys that I have shown you how to basically use these keys inside the fixed update function. And then we are going to basically update the x position with the time.delta time function with the speed that I've set it to value 2. You can make it like faster or slower depending upon your choice. And then we are going to basically change the scale. Scale is required basically to turn the player side into the backward direction if it starts moving running in the backward direction. So scale is all only required for that point. So here I have added a function on collision enter 2D inside my character movement controller class, which will basically set is running to false and make the running animation stop with the variable is running inside the animator. It is going to destroy the object, which is basically our obstacle will get destroyed and it will not be visible inside the screen, and then the death coroutine will be played, which means that the player will shown as dead inside the animation. I'm going to show you how it will look like inside the basically gameplay area, and then we are going to move back to our main menu screen. So here I'm showing you how to create the basically stone prefab or the obstacle prefab. I have created a simple prefab here, and then I've added an image that I've downloaded from internet, and then I have added a rigid body to it and a box collider to it. So rigid body is required basically to give the gravity and all the relevant functions, and basically follow the collider to function. So we have added the we have kept the body type to dynamic, and we have kept a gravity scale. So due to the gravity, the obstacles will start falling on their own with the physics of the Unity engine. And then we are going to add a box collider, and I'm showing you here how to edit the bounds of the box collider. You can simply enter the values of offset and size, and that will draw basically a rectangle around my obstacle, and that will act as a collider. Same of the properties will also be added to my this pirate character, and when both of these will collide, the my collision on collision enter 2D function will be called, that I've shown you how I've added inside the character movement controller. So here I'm playing the game. I'm pressing the start game button, and you can see that after some time the obstacles have started to fall and the player has started to move here and there to avoid those obstacles. After some time you will see that the score is going to rise, the value is going to increase, and it is a simple gameplay of around 1 minute. You will observe that how the player is avoiding all this and how all the systems are in place and working. So guys, this is all for this video. I hope you have enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you guys. We have learned here the colliders, how to add rigid bodies, how to spawn obstacles, and how to basically control all the character movements and simulate them inside basically the Unity editor. I will really want to add some other interesting features to this video and generate a smaller part 3 for you guys. Also guys, I really want basically to make videos on the Unity and Xcode platform in parallel. So if you have any of the ideas or related to games or apps that you want me to work on, so post in the comment section. I will really looking forward to your comments, and please like this video, share it with your friends, and hit the subscribe button if you're liking the content. I will that will encourage me to make other exciting content for you. Take good care of yourself. Goodbye.